Have you ever stopped and wondered who's actually speaking inside your mind? Not your voice, not the one you use when you talk to others. I'm talking about the voice that never goes silent, the one that comments on everything you see, everything you feel, everything you imagine. That voice has been with you since the moment you learned how to think. It talks non-stop, yet you've never truly questioned it. You've assumed, without hesitation, that this inner dialogue is you, that it reflects your identity, your choices, your beliefs. But what if I told you that this assumption is the greatest illusion of your life? And once you see the illusion clearly, your relationship with your own mind and reality itself changes forever. Right now, as you're listening, thoughts are rising and falling in your awareness. Notice that you're not choosing those thoughts. You didn't sit down and decide, I'm going to think this specific sentence next. Thoughts simply appear, uninvited, spontaneous, fully formed. Like bubbles rising out of deep water, they surface without your consent. So, here's the question that shatters the illusion most people never even realize they're living in. If you didn't consciously create your thoughts, then where do they actually come from? Most people never pause long enough to even consider this. A thought appears, and instantly, without questioning, they claim it. I'm thinking this, so this must be me. Fear shows up, and suddenly they become afraid. Anger appears, and they become angry. A limiting belief flashes through the mind, and they immediately shrink to fit inside it. But modern neuroscience has uncovered something astonishing, something ancient spiritual traditions have been teaching for thousands of years. By the time you become aware of a thought, your brain already processed it nearly half a second earlier. In other words, your conscious mind is merely witnessing thoughts that your unconscious mind already assembled. This isn't theory, it's scientific fact. In the 1980s, Benjamin Libet ran experiments proving that the brain initiates an action before you consciously decide. Meaning, what you perceive as a choice is actually a narration added after your brain already made the move. You're not generating thoughts, you're observing them, receiving them, witnessing them. The voice you've been calling me is not the author, it's the commentator. And once you understand this, everything begins to shift. Because the moment you stop believing every thought is yours, thoughts lose the power to define you. When a scared thought appears, you no longer have to become fear. When an angry impulse arises, you don't have to embody anger. When a self-doubting belief surfaces, you're no longer bound to it. Thoughts become what they always were, temporary visitors moving through the open space of your awareness. To experience this truth firsthand, try something very simple. Pause for a minute and try not to think. Not think anything. Set a timer for 60 seconds and attempt to hold pure awareness without letting a single thought appear. If you actually try it, you'll discover something surprising. Thoughts keep popping up even when you absolutely don't want them to. A memory from yesterday, a random image, a plan for later, a sudden judgment. They arise on their own, without your permission, without your control. This reveals something profound. If you cannot stop thoughts from appearing, then you cannot possibly be their source. You are not the thinker, you are the witness. And this single recognition is the doorway out of mental suffering. Because the moment you shift from being trapped inside thought to watching thought come and go, a new kind of freedom opens. Suddenly, you don't need to fight, suppress, control, or argue with your mind. You don't need to feel guilty for thoughts you never chose. You simply observe, and each thought loses its grip because it no longer defines you. Think of your mind like a radio constantly playing in the background. Sometimes it plays helpful music, Sometimes it plays noise. Sometimes it broadcasts fear, stress, worry, or imagination. But the radio is not who you are. You're the listener. And just like you don't get emotionally attached to every song on the radio, you can stop attaching yourself to every thought that moves through your awareness. To train this skill, practice a 5-minute exercise each morning. Sit still and watch each thought appear. Instead of believing it or fighting it, simply label it: planning, memory, worry, judgment, imagination, and let it pass. No argument, no resistance, just observation. Within a few days, a space opens between you and your thoughts. You begin seeing thoughts as separate from your identity, like shapes drifting across a clear sky. You become the sky, not the clouds. This shift is called metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe thoughts rather than be ruled by them. And once this awareness becomes stable, your entire reality begins responding differently because you're no longer projecting thoughts unconsciously into the world around you. Now that you understand you're not the thinker, let's go deeper. Because if thoughts aren't coming from you, where are they coming from? Your brain operates like a prediction machine. It's constantly scanning the past, comparing it with the present, and generating ideas, warnings, assumptions, and expectations long before you consciously know what's happening. Every difficult moment you've ever lived through leaves a pattern behind. These patterns fire automatically in new situations that resemble old ones. That's why you often have the same thoughts again and again. Not because the present moment requires them, but because your brain is replaying old recordings you've identified with for years. Imagine you're about to have a tough conversation. Long before you speak a single word, thoughts begin appearing. This might get awkward. What if they react badly? What if I say the wrong thing? These thoughts feel like real predictions, but in truth, they're echoes from old memories. Past conversations where things didn't go well, old fears, old reactions, old emotional residue. And because you mistake these thoughts for fresh insight, you walk into the conversation already carrying stress, tension, and defensive energy. The other person senses that energy immediately, responds to it, and the interaction becomes exactly what your thoughts predicted. Because your thoughts weren't predicting the future, they were recreating the past. To break this cycle, whenever a repetitive or emotional thought arises, ask yourself gently, when did I first think this thought? Don't push, just stay curious. Often the answer leads back to childhood, early teenage years, or emotional memories you've never questioned. And the moment you realize the thought is old, not present, not true, not relevant, it begins to dissolve because you stop feeding it with belief. Once you start recognizing that many of your thoughts are relics from the past, something even more surprising comes into view. A huge portion of what you think every day doesn't even come from your personal history. It comes from the collective mental atmosphere you live in. Whether you realize it or not, your mind is constantly tuning into a shared field of thoughts generated by society, culture, media, and the emotional climate of the world. This is why certain fears spread like wildfire, why entire groups begin worrying about the same issues, why the same ideas suddenly appear in millions of minds at once. You're not thinking these thoughts. They're passing through you because you're connected to a massive collective field. Just observe your mind for a few days. Notice how many thoughts you have about things you've never experienced directly. World events, economic fears, social opinions, judgments about strangers, predictions about things you've only seen online. These thoughts didn't come from you. They entered your awareness because consciousness is not isolated inside a skull. It's part of a larger network of shared mental energy. Once you begin seeing this clearly, you gain a powerful ability, the ability to choose which thoughts you engage with and which ones you let pass without touching your inner state. Every evening, review your thoughts and divide them into 3 types: thoughts from direct experience, thoughts from your personal memories, and thoughts from the larger collective. You'll be astonished how much of your mind was never truly your mind at all. And when you stop feeding collective thoughts with attention, they lose their influence instantly, reducing your mental noise by more than half. But here's where the shift becomes truly transformative. Your thoughts, even though they aren't originally yours, generate a measurable frequency in your body. Your heart emits an electromagnetic field that radiates 8 to 10 feet around you. This field broadcasts your emotional state, your beliefs, and your internal coherence into the environment. And reality responds to that broadcast more directly than it responds to your conscious intentions. If you unconsciously identify with anxious thoughts, your field sends out anxiety. If you believe limiting thoughts, your field sends limitation. If you identify with self-doubt, your field broadcasts insecurity. And the world responds not to what you want, but to what you're vibrating. That's why people can visualize success, repeat affirmations, and practice manifestation techniques while nothing in their life changes. Their conscious mind is saying one thing, but their unconscious identification with thought patterns is emitting a completely different frequency. But when you stop identifying with thoughts altogether, when you recognize them as passing appearances in awareness rather than your identity, your broadcast changes. You start radiating coherence, calm, clarity, a frequency that doesn't fluctuate with every random thought. And when your frequency stabilizes, reality begins reorganizing itself around you. Opportunities, synchronicities, and aligned experiences appear effortlessly because you're finally broadcasting from your authentic state instead of chaotic mental noise. To deepen this shift, practice the awareness anchor each day. Sit quietly, notice thoughts as they appear, and shift attention from the thought to the awareness that's seeing it. Awareness has no shape, no boundaries, no agitation. It's steady, silent, and spacious. The more you rest in that awareness, the more your nervous system learns to identify with presence instead of thought. And once this becomes your natural state, your energy field transforms. You move through life with a quiet confidence that doesn't depend on circumstances. You stop being reactive. You stop being pulled around by every mental wave. You become grounded, centered, stable. And something remarkable happens next. When you observe reality without filtering it through old patterns or collective fear, you begin to see life with clarity instead of distortion. If a thought like relationships are difficult appears, you no longer believe it blindly. You see it as just a thought. And because you don't adopt it as truth, you stop projecting that belief into your interactions. You meet people without past baggage. You respond to situations instead of reacting from memory. And reality mirrors this new clarity back to you. Life becomes less about surviving thought-based projections and more about experiencing what is actually in front of you. You stop living inside your head and start living inside the present moment, a space where new possibilities appear that